Yes, and now the General Secretary of the Royal College of Nursing has been forced to apologise after a damning internal report into the RCN leaked to the Guardian newspaper exposed bullying and misogyny and a culture where women were put at, quote, alcohol and power-related exploitation.
Well, the 77-page report by Bruce Carr, KC, also said the college was, quote, riddled with division, dysfunction and distrust. The college was vowed to, quote, give members the strong, professional and genuinely representative organisation they deserve.
Yes, well, the college have also claimed that safeguarding measures and protocols have been introduced and pledged to leave no stone unturned. Well, how damning is this report? How damaging is it for the Royal College of Nursing and what impact will it have? Well, here to discuss just that is Rebecca Butler, a former nurse and now a barrister. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time. I'm assuming you've read some of the details of this and the accusations levelled against the Royal College of Nursing. What's your response to that?
Good morning, Inaya and Mercy. It's really interesting because the Royal College of Nursing was always a highly respected representative body. They represent
Have lost Rebecca there. We'll try and get her back in just a moment. In the meantime, have we got her back? Yes, we have. Sorry, Rebecca, you disappeared for a second. Can carry on what you were saying.
It's really sad to see such a respected organisation fall in this way. Now, the RCN has always been extremely well respected and was, a representative body for 500,000 or so nurses. And this report actually puts into context for me why the RCN has become militant and has become vocal on nurses' pay is because their house has been burning behind the scenes. I did a little bit of research on this point, and since before 2019, the RCN has had a crisis in its leadership. This report doesn't go to the behaviour of nurses. This report really goes to the top 15 people in the organisation. Interestingly, despite the fact that so many nurses are of an ethnic minority, they have one person representing them on the council. 90% of nurses are female, yet over 60% of the council are male. So what this report really tells us is that there is a toxic, essentially male environment at the top of the RCN with a lot of sexual impropriety at Congress, which is their annual meeting, and appalling levels of behaviour that are redolent of what happened at the UN and what we found out about the UN behaviour about 4 years ago. So it does put into context their increased stridency, their militancy. They are now striving for relevance amongst their members, given this appalling behaviour at the top of their ranks.
And that report did say that it's the senior leadership which has, quote, been riddled with division, dysfunction and distrust, and did condemn the male-dominated governing body as well. I just wondered if it is the top that's so corrupt and if it is a sort of a culture here, can it change, really? Doesn't it have to sort of be root and branch reform to address these issues, these deep-seated issues that this report has pointed out?
Well, absolutely. But who's going to do it? Because all of the leaders have secured their position. This is the leadership of the RCN. These things don't happen overnight. These are endemic problems within the organisation. And how on earth do you clear this all out? I mean, it sounds great, doesn't it? But as I said, this is comparable to what happened at the UN, and they haven't managed to sort their problems out in 5 years. You see, the RCN was a contributor to the pay review body that reported earlier this year. The government granted the pay review body, and the RCN must have known that this report was going to come out very much against them. So they've gone and balloted nurses for the first time ever. The RCN has balloted nurses for strike action to go for a 15% pay rise when they were only asking for just over 5% earlier in the year. So, it's staggering, really, how they have deflected from what is going on internally. And I think they have let nurses down in the public eye by going on strike or balloting for strike, having only just been rewarded a very, very generous pay increase. I think they have really shot themselves in the foot, and they could lose their membership over this. It's not a mandatory body. It's not a certification body. It's not a registration body. That's the Nursing and Midwifery Council. It has always been a soft trade union, and I think they're in a lot of trouble.
And just finally, I mean, why do you think there is such a disconnect then between the culture within nursing itself? Many people know that nurses work very hard and very long hours and do such an important job, and this particular body that from this report is being revealed to be dysfunctional, exploitative, and power hungry in many ways.
I would suggest that many of the people on the council don't actually look after patients, which, given the nature of this report, I think the general public would be quite relieved to know that their patient contact is very minimal. This atmosphere does not exist in nursing. It absolutely does not exist. This is only a group of 15 to 20 people, and it is people who have put themselves forward to leadership rather than actually being leaders in hospitals and nursing groups closer to the ground. They have pushed themselves into better paid positions within the RCN and are absolutely not representative of nursing. The very fact that they cannot fully represent the diversity of nursing, we know how many migrant nurses there are in the UK who do a fantastic job for our patients. How can they have no representation on the senior board of the RCN? It's an utter disgrace.
Well, Rebecca Butler, thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us about that really important story. Rebecca Butler there, who's a former nurse herself and is now a barrister.